Good morning, everyone. I'm Gaurav from UX Gorilla. I welcome you all to webinar on conversational experiences, organized by Design Jungle and powered by UX Gorilla. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Monica Khanna. She will lead this webinar and taking us through conversational experience basics. Monica specializes in solving complex problems and creating seamless experiences. During her 9 years in UX, she has worked with many companies like Birlasoft, Bennett Coleman, commonly known as the Times Group, Apple App Studios, Oodle Technologies, and currently she's associated with Sapient as a manager UX. She's a firm believer in knowledge sharing. She frequently speaks at events and writing articles on user experience. Next up, we have Monica, presenting the world conversational experiences from her lenses. Before we go further, I want to tell you that throughout the presentation, you guys can put your queries in the comment section. We'll try to answer the same. So let's get started, guys. Over to you, Monica.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining for this session. I'm going to talk about conversational experience, the latest trend for human-computer interaction. Let me just share my screen. In this course of time, I will be covering these topics: overview of conversational design, chatbots, and voice recognition systems, framework, conversational entities, and few quick tips. To start with, let's see how the evolution of interfaces is done in recent times. Earlier, we were using web browsers, like websites were the primary mode of information exchange. And by 2009, smartphones picked up the market and the mobile apps became the preference mode of information access. And these days we have messaging apps. Conversational design is emerging platform. So growth of chatbots, voice recognition systems are becoming smarter with artificial intelligence technologies and thus creating rich experiences. Web browsers and smartphones were based on GUI, graphical user interface, which comprises of like buttons, forms, fields, textual descriptions. Here, user does not feel like someone is listening to him, someone is talking to him. Whereas messaging platforms give him that kind of liberty. As per Don Norman, the real problem with the interface is that it is an interface. Then comes is our conversational interface. A user interface, which is a touch point that enables you to use a language, a human conversation between computer and the human to get a task done. It can be via a text message or a chat or a voice-based conversation to interact seamlessly. This makes user feel like someone is talking to him or he is talking to any other human as he is talking in his daily life, and thus does not get any sense of hindrance from an interface point of view to convey his intent clearly. So these days we see there are those interfaces used by Slack bot, Facebook Messenger, Siri, Alexa, etc. Now the point comes in play that why conversational design? So let's see what are the key benefits for this kind of conversational and the latest trend. Firstly, it feels more natural than apps. As I said, that user feels like he is talking to any other human. So, and he can talk in his own language. So it feels more natural than apps. He does not have to, learn new skills to interact with an interface. Like he does not have to learn any kind of gestures, UI elements, or navigation, etc. This allows personalization because based on his responses, your assistant can take the flow ahead. So this spark an instant connection with the user and the assistant. No need to download a separate mobile app. There is no judgment that whether the answer is right or wrong. There is no such kind of judgment for the user. And of course, it is far more engaging than those static visual counterparts and builds the trust among the end users through meaningful interaction. As per Golden Krishna, language is the most powerful, useful, and effective communication technology ever period. And that's why you can see, starting with chatbots, there are two types of interfaces these days, like chatbots, and the other one is voice-based recognition systems. So let's see, what is a chatbot? A chatbot is a computer program that attempts to simulate conversation via text or a voice interaction. A user can ask a chatbot any question, make a command, and the chatbot will respond back and perform the requested action. With the evolution of AI technology, they are expected to become more empowered to offer better language processing capabilities. Golden Krishna, I think, rightly said, the best interface is no interface. And that's why we got evolution of voice recognition systems like Alexa, Siri, Google Home, etc., which allows user to interact with computer through a voice. Similar to chatbots, because chatbots can be voice-based as well as text. VUI, voice user interfaces, are hitting the mainstream, and we find them in our smartphones, TVs, and other range of products. According to Google, 20% of all search queries are on mobile, and Android are voice-based. And according to Gartner, by 2020, 30% of web browsing sessions will be done without a screen. So these are all based on the language processing. NLP. The concept of NLP means natural language processing, which is an area with interactions between the computer and human natural language is done. In particular, how to program your computers to process and understand that how the user's intent for that particular task is and how to get that task done easily for him. And then analyze those large amount of natural language data, that how the responses are coming and how you can make your bot assistant better. The trend is evolving from NLP to NLU these days, which is natural language understanding. It has gone one level ahead now. So it is now natural language understanding, which is a subtopic of natural language processing and artificial intelligence, which deals with machine understanding and reading those comprehension. So if AI-powered chatbots can be done, they'll be pure magic. Because through machine learning, chatbots can learn appropriate answers to specific user queries over time, for which they may no longer require any kind of training. And make your chatbots and your assistants much more efficient. I would like to throw some light on the framework because people generally start thinking about how to manage the user flow. I would like to summarize it in these steps. First, to start like with scope. then the personality development of your bot or assistant, then prioritizing the list, the must have features, and then the flow, how your bot or the chat bot or your assistant should follow the flow. And it has to be personalized because depending on what user will be selecting, he'll be taking the flow ahead. So let's dig deep into each of these and try to understand that how we can cover and use this kind of a framework. So firstly, I would suggest to define scope. That scope is nothing but basically explains what the chatbot or your assistant is all about. So making clear what people can expect from your digital assistant, defining the exact goal of the bot, what they can expect from your bot, what it can be done through your assistant. And then considering use cases where chat works best to solve a user query. Then comes as a very important step of personality development of the bot or the assistant. So then works on the personality, the tonality of the bot. Like you may see how Alexa, Siri, Google Home, they are interacting with users. The tone, the language, the way they respond and talk, and the personality behind them. So then you need to work on the personality and the tonality of the assistant you are looking for as per the problem you're solving for the user. And then decide how the bot will talk and act in every situation. Define how the bot shall respond to the end user queries. This third step comes as prioritizing list of must-have features. List out some of the specific tasks a user can perform with the assistant to decide value proposition, what value you're adding in his life. So must-have features without whom he cannot go further, or this is the primary pain which you are trying to solve in his life. And then prioritize that list based on his needs and focus on information that any user can find useful through your assistant. So it's not about perfection, it's about starting small and then moving fast. And the fourth step, as I said, it is task flow. Then convert those task flow to a chat, that how your bot will be talking and how the user will feel like he is talking to any other human, his friends, his relatives, his co-workers, or anybody else like he talks in his daily life. Then write a script based on the personality of your assistant, which you have developed in step number 2. And then start designing for every possible situation. So the designing part comes quite later, when you have a complete groundwork done for your assistant. Moving on with the conversational entities. So I have covered the basic entities, which comprises of welcome message, invocation, request, intent, context, and the response. So I'll cover all of them in deep, starting with welcome message. So welcome message is about setting that first connect with your users, right? So like in real world, you start your conversations by greeting someone. So similarly, your bot, your assistant should start greeting users and set that first connect. Like Siri, you see, what can I help you with? Go ahead, I'm listening. Google Assistant with some animation. Cortana is using, here are a few questions you can ask me. So this is the kind of example for the welcome message. Then comes this invocation. Invocation is the trigger used to invoke your assistant. What would be that trigger? How you want your assistant to be trigger and invocate, provoked for that application. For example, Siri, we use Hey Siri, press and hold volume up button, Google Assistant, Hey Google, Alexa, Alexa, which is the wake up word by default, and you can change it also. So similarly, you have to work on these for your assistants or the bots or the voice-based systems. Then comes is the request. What is a request? It could be a question, it could be a command or a query asked by the user through your assistant or the bot. For example, it could be how's the weather in New York today? What are the nearby restaurants? Who was Oscar Wilde? Add them to my cart. So these are all, for examples of the request a user can ask the assistant. Then comes as the concept of intent. This is the most important because you need to understand that a user can ask the same question in different ways. So there can be n number of permutations for asking the same question. So work on the user utterances, how user can ask this and make your assistant that intelligent enough to respond based on the level of utterances. And then, as I said earlier, that gather the large amount of data which you're gathering from your users' responses and work on those utterances. So the different ways of calling the same thing, for example, I like to eat pizza, order a pizza. Do we have restaurants nearby where pizza is available? Is there Domino's nearby? So user can ask these different ways of same type of question that he is looking for pizza. The action from your assistant could be order pizza. So the assistant should be made that intelligent that he should understand that here the required parameters are people count, time, restaurant, type of pizza, etc. So supposingly user said that I would like to eat pizza, the next set of questions from the assistant could be for how many people, at what time would you like to have, what type of pizza, veg or non-veg would you like to have? Just to understand that without having these required parameters, people count, time, type of pizza or the restaurant, whether you want to have it from Domino's or somewhere else, the task cannot be done. The action, the final action which is required here to order a pizza cannot be done. So build your assistants and bots intelligent enough to understand that what are the required parameters for the task to be done and understand the user utterances to completely imbibe their intent. Next entity which I would like to cover is the context, which is also quite important because it represents the current context of a user's request. So the assistant should remember the previous conversational turns, that what is going on, what he's trying to cover. So for example, asking a Google Assistant that who was Oscar Wilde gives user some result. And if user asks, can you tell me more? So the more should reflect back to Oscar Wilde, where he is not mentioning the name of the author, but still the assistant understands that they are referring to Oscar Wilde and it shows the relevant results. So this is the context that he understands from the previous conversations. And this is very essential for making a conversation sound natural rather than robotic, because this is how we conversate in our daily life. Next, how your assistant should respond. It could be in the form of acknowledgement, a confirmation, an informational statement. So it is the response created by the assistant to serve the user request. The representations can be in many forms. One could be a simple response, text only, audio only, or text and audio both. For example, the question was, how's the weather in New York tomorrow? And the response in text, which can be shown on the screen, it's going to be a pleasant day tomorrow, and show weather. Or the response in voice could be, it's going to be a pleasant day tomorrow. So that's the simple response representation. The second representation of the response could be a visual card, which can display an image, title, subtitle with some text and a link. In the example where it is shown, when not a real rapper coming to the city, and the response is in text and in the visual card shown on the screen. On May 15th, I see if there are tickets. Should I see if there are tickets available? And then a visual card. So these are the representations in which the assistant can show his response. The another way of representation for response could be a suggestion chips. Now, what are chips? Chips is nothing but like giving hints at responses to continue the conversation. It helps user refine those topics because sometimes it's faster and easier for users to tap a chip than it is to say or type that response to continue the conversation. For example, what event are you interested in? And then showing him some suggestion chips. Shows this week, this weekend, popular ones, so that he can just tap on this chip and show you his intent. Since user has a lot of high expectations from AI chatbots and the voice-based systems, they have low tolerance about error rate in chatbots. So we can easily solve this problem by limiting users' input to just a few options. Like instead of asking openly what he wants, try to proactively give him some suggestions. And from the wide range of questions, try to narrow it down. As in this example shown, what kind of bouquet would you like? And user can respond from a wide range of queries, like a sympathy bouquet, it's for birthday, etc. And then narrowing it out to what kind of flowers would you like in your bouquet. So now user has a limited range of options where he can select just the kind of flowers, roses, daffodils, sunflowers, etc. And then further narrowing it leads to what color carnations do you want? Red, pink, yellow, white. So now he just have to choose from a single category. So in this way, you are helping him to get his task done by narrowing it, the questions, and giving him the few options to limit his input. And then the final question could be, are you ready to place your order? Again, user has to choose from just a few options, either yes or no. Now I would like to give you some quick tips in the end that your bot or assistant needs a voice. So try if not only going by chatbot and the chats, try to include the voice also so that it makes more natural for the user. Be diligent of how the representation of your assistant affects the user experience. As I said earlier, that how it will be representing, how the tonality and the personality would be, it should be given a lot of importance. In this kind of conversational design, copy is the new design. This is the ultimate mantra for designing a magical assistant, because you have to work on the user utterances. You have to understand how naturally user can talk, speak, or write his queries or give you a command. Give users time to read and see, just so that he feels more comfortable, he gets your trust, and leads him to more engaging in the content which you are trying to show him. Make sure buttons are functional at all points of the conversation. Write quick replies from a first person perspective, that is, as a user would respond. So try doing some mock-ups, like talking to someone and then creating your script in the fourth step, which I showed you earlier. And then think that how your user would respond to this. Also, learn to say no tactfully. Don't be rude, but again, if this is out of the limit or the scope we defined in the first step of your assistant, maybe you have to say no. Or if you don't understand, the assistant does not understand something, he can just simply say, apologies, I don't understand that. Humble yet firm. Then the next tip which I can give you for this kind of interface is add emotions to your conversation, because emotions is the thing we all need. And since we are humans, we deal in emotions. So if you can include those emotions in your conversation, it's going to hit your user's heart. To summarize, I can say that conversation design via bot, assistant, or voice-based systems is better, as it understands customer needs, his wants, and his surroundings much better than the interfaces we have used till date. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, Monica, for sharing your knowledge on conversational experience with us. And thank you so much, people, for joining this webinar. We had a lot of great interaction on behalf of UX Gorilla. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this information helpful. If you missed anything, no worries. Still, you can watch this recorded webinar on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys. All right, so guys, we have a few questions. So, Monica, let's see some questions, right? Uh, there is one another viewer, which is Garima. So, one question is from Garima. She's asking how we will set the time to read or see. This actually may vary user to user, also depends on our age, eyesight, and listening power. So, what do you want to say on this?
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav, and thanks, Garima, for the question. Yes, that is why you need to see that how users are responding. And obviously, as I earlier said, that start talking to someone and then start building your script and see that now how the users are responding, and do your testing well, that based on the age, eyesight, as you completely said. But then you have to also understand that the conversational design is more about getting less into the interface and then write some direct content which user can relate to as per his conversation, and then do the testing that how users are responding, whether they are able to read that. Of course, if it should be in some chats kind of format where you just write 2 lines or 1 line. something like that, and then see how much time user are taking to read it, and then you know iterate it accordingly.
Great, great. So, Monica, another question we have from Sumit Sharma. How do we decided which platform, Facebook or Slack, etc., we should focus on while building a bot? So, what you want to say?
Thanks, Sumit, for the question. Yeah. So, like Facebook and Slack bots, these are all examples which you can refer to. But as I have given you some tips according to your bot, according to your business scope, you need to understand that what is the difference between these bots and what kind of scope and the business goal which you are trying to achieve through your assistant. Otherwise, you can follow these quick tips which I've tried to given you, because these are generic. So you can use it and then try that how you can set those connection with your users through your assistant or your bot. So these are very good examples which you can refer to, and there is no choosing between either one of them, because all of them are good. They are serving their business goals well. So you need to understand that as per your business goal, how you can cater your users requirement better.
Thank you. One last question, Monica. Uh, there is next question from Anish Kumar. He's asking for how to approach in order to get maximum of them covered.
Thanks, Anish, for the question. Yeah, as I earlier said that in this third step, which I tried to give as per the framework I am proposing, that prioritize the must-have features. You know, you don't have to show everything or cover the maximum. As I said, that you don't have to be perfect in doing it right at the first time. You can start with the small chunks and then build it moving forward, and see that how your users are responding, and covering the must have features first, and then later covering to the rest. So try not to do everything at one, but try to see if you can cover and prioritize the must have features for the first time, and then try to build over it once you're getting your users interaction, you're winning their hearts, and you know the conversation is going smoothly between the assistant and the users.
Um, Great. So another comment we received from Amit Bachanda. He just want to ask you like if you can share another example of add emotions to your conversations.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amit. Yeah, so as I said that response from the assistant could be in the form of acknowledgement, confirmation, etc. So during that, suppose someone has answered the question well as per your expectation, and he is performing the steps very well. So you can acknowledge the user by saying, hey, great going, or well done, you have reached to this level, just two more to go, or something like that, where someone feels that wow, I'm doing well, I am about to go for it. Just the way we greet someone, just the way our near dear ones are doing something good, we acknowledge them that that's good news. So just like that, adding some emotions, and that's why I recommended in the very first tip that if you can include voice, because without voice, the chat does not show the emotions, right? So if you could include the emotions, and if someone is not responding in the way it is expected, you cannot be that harsh that, and in a robotic manner your assistant can say, oh, looks like this is not working, this seems some unexpected response, we can try in this way. Hey, how about trying it in this way, right? So just like you're talking to someone who is younger to you, and instead of making him feel that, oh, you're lost, or for example, you're younger sister or brother is preparing for her exams, and you feel like, trying to motivate her in a way that, fine, if you didn't get or you didn't score well in this term, maybe you can do it better in the next term. So in the same way, you have to get that emotions first through your script, in your bot's personality, that he is trying to help you to get your task done. And that's why, as I keep saying, not in the robotic fashion, but sounding more natural and responding him with emotion, these kind of emotions, as I've given you the examples. So I hope it helps.
Great, thank you, Monica. So, Anish is asking, like, how much important is the design, look and feel of a chatbot? Also, what level of coding will be efficient for creating a chatbot?
Thanks, Anish, for the question. Yes, if we talk about chatbot, then look and feel is important. But as I said earlier, the copy is the new design for these kind of conversational design, because firstly, what users are going to see and respond is the most important mantra for your conversational design. The look and feel comes next, and it could be the secondary thing which you need to focus while designing any chatbot. And but of course, for the chatbot, it comes in the look and feel also, that try giving a face to your bot, right? Rather than just showing a dummy user icon or something like that. Try to build that as per his personality, that so that user actually feels like we are doing chatting through WhatsApp or Skype or Google Messenger, Hangouts. We see someone's face and then we feel that connection. So try to give a face to your bot or assistant, and that can be a part of your look and feel also. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, guys, for joining this webinar. We had a lot of great interaction with you guys. Thank you so much for commenting and joining us. On the behalf of UX Gorilla, I again thank you so much. We hope you found this information helpful. If you missed anything, no worries. Still, you can watch this recorded webinar on our YouTube channel. So, signing off with Monica Khanna. Bye bye. Thank you.